Hey everyone, welcome back once again, back again with another video. This time we're previewing the EFL Cup Final that's happening this weekend, this Sunday. Huge game, United versus United, Manchester United versus Newcastle United. Obviously as a United fan, I'm very excited. But yeah, like I said, the channel's back and I'm going to start off properly with this preview. Just to give a bit of background actually. I thought I'd come back, focus the channel a little bit more on Manchester United as that's where my heart is. So make it a little bit more direct, a lot more focused on United games. But I will still do the odd FPL Corner because I still play Fantasy Premier League. So at the end of this video, actually, I will quickly run through how I'm doing on Fantasy Premier League and what I plan to do for this weekend. Because of course there are still Premier League games going on, even though we're going to be I almost said Champions League final soon come. Don't worry, EFL Cup Final against Newcastle United. So let's preview that game. First of all, it's a big game. Like I said, it's a big game for both teams. This could be United's first trophy under Ten Hag, who's done an amazing job. I think, I'm a bit nervous now. I wasn't that nervous before. But thinking about it earlier this morning and just kind of looking at how everyone basically expects us to win now, because we're on such good form. But at the end of the day, it's pressure. People say, "Oh, it's just the Carabao Cup or Carling Cup if you're from a certain era." And yes, okay, it's probably it is the smallest domestic trophy, but it's the first trophy up for grabs, and both teams will definitely want to win it. We want to win it. We want to get that first trophy on the wraps. Eddie Howe's team will want to win it after to kind of signal their kind of intention as an up and coming rich team. And he's done a good job. Let's not beat around the bush. But before we get into Newcastle, let's focus on Manchester United. And like I said, we're on good form. We're on excellent form. I think looking at our last, if you include yesterday, obviously we faced and beat Barcelona, a lovely game. And I obviously did a review of that game if you're going to want to go and watch that. But yeah, so we're on excellent form. Before that we beat Leicester 3-0. Was it 3-0? Yes, it was 3-0. We beat Leeds 2-0. Before that we drew 2-2 with Leeds. Before that we beat Crystal Palace 2-1. So we are in good form. We're unbeaten basically in the last 5 games. If you don't, 6 games if you include the other Barcelona game that we drew 2-2 with them. So we're on really good form. We're expected to win this game. We've got great players on top form like Marcus Rashford, obviously. And yeah, you just expect us to win this game, but I am nervous. Because at the end of the day, Newcastle. Let me pull up their stats quickly. They're not on the best form in the last 5. They obviously lost their second game in the Premier League this season against Liverpool just the other day. Lost 2-0. But even then, if you watched that game, it was 2-0, but they went 2-0 down and then they went down to 10 men. And even when they went down to 10 men, they looked like one, the game only finished 2-0, but 2, they had lots of chances. I reckon if maybe they had 11 men and Nick Pope hadn't been sent off, which we'll talk about in a minute, they might have actually brought that back to 2-2. So Newcastle, a good team. Prior to that, that Liverpool game, they drew 3 in the bounce, I think. Yeah, Bournemouth, West Ham, Crystal Palace. So, they're hard to beat. And I'm expecting this will be a tough game. It'd be great if it was a nice walkover because, like I was saying, I will be at the game and I'll be hopefully taking footage of the time at the game. So I want it to be a good game. Obviously, I want us to win it, but it will be hard. They will be hard to beat. Really good form at the moment, and also they've got some good players. Trippier's been on pretty decent form this season as from the back line. They're missing Nick Pope. Which is great for us. But once again, let's put that to the side for now. Before we go into that, let's talk about the United predicted lineup, right? Now, I think we're, for those that watched the Barca game yesterday, we started with, in fact, let me pull it off my phone, make it a little bit easier for myself. We started with the typical backline you probably expect, which is De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, who's recently been on fire and he's taken Dalot's spot. Martinez, Varane and Luke Shaw, who's excellent obviously. We had Fred and Casemiro in the midfield, and then we had the front line with Sancho actually started as number 10, and we had Bruno on the right, Rashford on the left and Weghorst up front. Now I think we'll probably go a bit different this time. I think Sancho probably for the EFL Cup game, the final. I think Sancho probably drop out. Not that he's I love Jadon Sancho, obviously, as you know. And if you don't know, now you know. And I think and not that he was dreadful against Barca. It just didn't really work in that first half. Funny enough, though, in the second half before he came off, he was the one that kind of got the pre-assist for the Fred goal. He passed to Fernandes. Fernandes passed to Fred. Fred scored. So he still played well, but I think you could see the difference that Anthony made when he came on. Bruno went into the 10th position. So I think that's what we're gonna do. I think we'll probably bring for this game. Probably start the same team basically, but with Anthony coming in for Sancho. Bruno going into his 10th position, Weghorst probably still up front, and Rashford on the left. Obviously, Ten Hag could, instead of going for Fred and Casemiro in midfield, he could go for Casemiro and Sabitzer. But I don't think he's going to do that, because I think with Ten Hag, what we're learning is that you earn your shirt, and until you do something that or unless it's tactical, but until you do something that is not that. That makes you lose that shirt, either get suspended or just having a poor game, then you kind of keep your position in the team. So I think, for example, as a result, I think Fred and Casemiro probably stay in midfield. Plus, Sabitzer and Casemiro haven't actually played together yet, so I don't really see him chucking them into the first game in a final against Newcastle. Not to say that Ten Hag will make changes if he needs to. If we're not playing very well, I'm very confident that he'll make the necessary changes to get us the win. So that's my predicted lineup. I think Newcastle, going back to them, like I said, they're missing Nick Pope, the goalkeeper, who got sent off in that Liverpool game. It was comical, to be honest. I feel sorry for him, obviously, but at the end of the day, he did it to himself. He didn't need to do all of that, try and catch the ball on the halfway line, basically. So they're missing him, and that means they'll probably end up with Loris Karius in goal. Or I think they've got another guy called, I can't remember his name now, Mike Gillespie or something. I can't remember his name. But so essentially, they don't have their first team keeper. Their second choice keeper, who is what's our boy's name, Dubravka. He obviously was with us on loan, so he's cup tied, so he can't play. So they're basically relying on Karius. And also, in case for those that know Newcastle quite well, Cardano, who would have been the replacement keeper, he's on loan somewhere, so they can't use him either. So yeah, for those that know Karius' history, he was a bit of a mess in his last final, which was the Champions League final for Liverpool. So people would have you believe that means we're gonna score goals from all over the place against him. But like I said, I'm a bit nervous, confidently nervous. I still think we're gonna win the game, but let's just keep it calm and just win the game, essentially. So they'll be without him, but otherwise their 11, I'm not really sure about their 11, but I'm sure it'll be very similar to what they've been playing recently in the Premier League. And in terms of score prediction, I think we're going to win 2-1. I hope we'll win a bit more comfortably, but obviously I want to see a good, exciting game anyway. You always want to see a good final. So yeah, I think it will be a nice 2-1 win. Rashford get his goal, and actually, I think Weghorst will win us the game. I think he'll score the winner. That could just be that, we scored 2 goals and then, Newcastle scored 1. But I actually think Weghorst will finally get his United goal at Wembley in front of United fans, and win us that first trophy. Now, it is just the Carabao Cup, but it's huge for us. First trophy in 6 years. It'll be amazing. So yeah, that's my preview for that game. I can't remember. I think I wanted to say something else on the game, but let's leave it there for now, and let's go straight into, as I said earlier, a quick FPL corner. Premier League games are still going on. Just because we're the best team in England and we're in Europe probably now, and we're playing in the Carabao Cup Final, doesn't mean that there's not a Premier League game still going on. And to be honest, for us, as the way we've been playing United, it's going to be interesting because we don't have a Premier League game this week, obviously, or this weekend. And in fact, our next Premier League game isn't till Liverpool. So these other, our competitors can maybe, steal a little bit of a march on us. Arsenal and City, if you think we're in a title race, which we are. Let's be honest. Touching on that title race thing, we are in a title race, but obviously we're like the outsiders for this title. But I mean, it'd be great if we win the EFL Cup, win the Premier League, win the Europa League, win it all, win the FA Cup. Then we'll have an open top bus parade, because I don't think we'll be doing that for Carabao Cup, you know. Anyway, so let's go into a FPL corner just to kind of discuss how I've been doing in the Fantasy Premier League, but also maybe you can, you know, what I'm thinking of doing and what you might want to think to do to your team, depending on what is happening, you know, how it's looking and what's happening this weekend. So as you can see, here is my team from Gameweek 24. Got 65 points, not too bad compared to the average points from last week, right? So obviously I'm not going to be one of, well, maybe I will one day, but currently I'm not top in the world or anything. But top 400k is not too bad, just over 400k. When you consider that as 11 million players, not too bad. And I'm doing alright in my mini leagues, you know, with my friends and stuff. I think I'm like, let's say top 3 in most of the leagues, I think. So this is how my team did last week. The United boys carrying the team, Shaw, Fernandes and Rashford. But actually this week is a blank game week and a double game week. So for example, United boys aren't going to be around because we're facing Newcastle in the Cup Final, as you know. And obviously Trippier's not going to be playing as well. And I think there's a couple other teams that have blanks. So essentially I need to make changes to make sure that I've got some players playing this week while I'm out enjoying the football at Wembley. So this is how the team would look if I didn't make any changes. As you can see, Shaw's blanking, Estepinian is blanking because Brighton are blanking. We've got some double game weeks for Arsenal. It's a double game week, not for Arsenal, with 2 games against Leicester and Everton. And yeah, so I basically need to decide who I'm going to keep, because certain players like Rashford and Trippier, I don't think I want to get rid of them because I've got a lot of value in them. Rashford started the season up at like 6 mil, now 7.3. I bought him for 6 mil, so if I sell him, I'll have to buy him back for a ridiculous amount. So this is what I'm thinking of doing, right? I haven't actually made up my mind yet, but essentially this is what I'm thinking of doing. I've taken out whoever was here, Shaw, right? And I've brought in Trippier, not Trippier, Alexander-Arnold, because they've got a double game week. They've got 2 games. Let's just confirm that. They've got 2 games, one against Crystal Palace, one against Wolves. And I know Liverpool have been dreadful recently, and you know, on and off, they got absolutely smashed by Real Madrid, obviously. But also, they're in the Premier League, they're doing all right. And at the end of the day, when Liverpool got double game week, you kind of have to take the risk that, you know, they're going to do well. Same again with Salah. Brought him in, got rid of Fernandes because Fernandes is blanking. And I've actually brought in McNeil also because he's got a double game week, and De Bruyne was, I think, yellow flagged, as you saw on the previous slide. So yeah, so I've got McNeil because he's got a double game because Everton are facing Villa and Arsenal. Now I don't expect him to do that well, or that well, but he'll do better than not having, you know, having a blanking Fernandes, or potentially, hopefully, better than De Bruyne if De Bruyne doesn't play. And I might get rid of Mitrovic as well, but as you can see, I'm already on -4, so I don't really know how many minus points I'm willing to take. But I haven't confirmed this, so this is just my thoughts at the moment. Deadline is later today, 6:30, so I'd recommend getting your changes in as soon as possible. And I need to make up my mind as soon as possible. But yeah, so that's my team. That's what I'm thinking of doing for this game week. So there you have it. There's my preview for the EFL Cup Final and a quick FPL corner for those that play Fantasy Premier League. Hope you enjoyed that video. Obviously, like I said, I'll be going to Wembley on Sunday. Yes. Hopefully to see my team win and lift their first trophy under Erik ten Hag. And yeah, so wait for my review of that Cup Final. If you like the video, please, as always, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already, and let me know how you're doing in FPL if you're playing, but also who's going to win this Carling Cup Final. I say Carling Cup again, Carabao Cup, EFL Cup Final. Who do you think is going to win? How do you think we're going to play? If you're a United fan, how do you think Newcastle are going to play? Even if you're not a United fan, let me know what you think. Once again, see you on the other side.